All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are here with Brooke and Juanita from the Alzheimer's Association. And I am going to go ahead and just pass this over to Brooke to get started.
Hi, everyone. I am Brooke Bowley. I'm with the Alzheimer's Association, Eastern North Carolina chapter. And again, I am here in Wilmington, but our community educator, our presenter today is Juanita Wade. She is in Charlotte, and she is a longtime volunteer and supporter of the Alzheimer's Association. She is a support group facilitator, a community educator, and holds many other roles, presenters, speakers, a great go-to person. And she has personal experience in caregiving for her mother for several years with Alzheimer's. And in her professional life was an administrator and an educator as well, too, and really just a fantastic speaker. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Juanita to kick off 10 warning signs of Alzheimer's.
Thank you so much, Brooke. You're so kind. That was a great introduction. And welcome all participants today. This is a great presentation. The information is so useful. So I'm hoping that you're looking at your guides, and I'm hoping you even take some notes if you get a chance. What we're going to present today is a program that's really designed to help folks learn about the warning signs of Alzheimer's and other dementias. And those who have noticed memory or thinking changes in themselves or people that they love. We're going to start today. This program can actually be an hour long, but we're going to shorten it to a 30-minute program and give you lots of time at the end to ask questions. So let's take a look at what we're going to discuss today. We're going to describe the typical age-related memory, thinking, and behavior changes. We're going to recognize the common warning signs of Alzheimer's and dementia. We're going to discuss the tips for approaching someone about memory concerns and explain the importance of early detection and the benefits of diagnosis, and identify possible tests and assessments for the diagnostic process. And at the end, Brooke's going to help you understand what resources are available through the Alzheimer's Association. Let's get started. Oops. Not to worry, as you see me passing some of these, this is so we can shorten the program into the 30 minutes for you. We're going to talk about the 10 warning signs of Alzheimer's. Here we go. Let's start with, what is dementia?
Dementia is the umbrella term for an individual's changes in memory, thinking, or reasoning. There are many possible causes of dementia, and Alzheimer's is the most common cause. Other causes of dementia are vascular dementia, which is marked by changes in the blood flow and the blood vessels in the brain. Dementia with Lewy bodies, identified by specific brain changes throughout the brain that include the buildup of a protein known as alpha-synuclein, and frontal temporal dementia, which is marked by brain cell loss in the front sections of the brain or the frontal lobe. Each type of dementia may have distinct characteristics to cause specific behaviors in the individual, but there is also some overlap in behaviors among the types of dementia.
So you notice that Alzheimer's dementia is just one kind. So let's talk about how that is, what the symptoms are.
More than 100 years ago, Dr. Alice Alzheimer's described specific changes in the brain, what we call the formation of plaques and tangles. Now, Alzheimer's is a progressive brain disease that's marked by these key changes and is thought to impact memory, thinking, and behavior. The brain has three main parts: the cerebrum, the cerebellum, and the brainstem. Each one plays a role in how the body functions. The cerebrum fills up most of your skull. It is part of the brain most involved in remembering, problem solving, thinking, and even feelings. There are about 100 billion nerve cells or neurons throughout the brain that transmit messages in order for us to create memories, feelings, and thoughts. Alzheimer's disease causes nerve cells to die, which leads to the brain tissue loss, or what we call shrinkage, and causes loss of function and communication between cells. These changes can cause the symptoms of Alzheimer's disease, such as memory loss, problems with thinking, planning, behavioral issues, and even at the end stages, problems with swallowing.
Now we'll hear from Dr. Ruth Drew. She's going to talk about the importance of recognizing the 10 warning signs of Alzheimer's.
It's important to know what the warning signs of Alzheimer's are and to be on the lookout. We know that we change over time, and the warning signs of Alzheimer's can be warning signs of a number of things, but when you see those in yourself or in someone you care about, it's important to check it out, to consult with a doctor to find out what you're dealing with.
Okay, now we're going to talk about those specific 10 warning signs. As Ruth said, it's important to know that the 10 warning signs, what they are, and to be on the lookout. And I really mean to be on the lookout. You want to be on the lookout for yourself and any loved ones that you know who may be showing some behavioral changes. The Alzheimer's Association, as a leader in this area, developed a list of 10 warning signs to help people understand the difference between normal aging and common signs of possible dementia. So let's look at this list. This list is intended to be a tool. This does not mean that everyone who has Alzheimer's will show every single one of these signs. And it doesn't mean that you must show all of these signs if you have Alzheimer's. But this is a guide. If you're seeing changes in these areas, changes that disrupt daily life, then you need to see a doctor. Let's get started. The first one is memory loss. Memory loss that disrupts daily life. This is one of the most common signs of Alzheimer's, especially early on. People forget information that they recently learned. Others include forgetting important dates or events, repeatedly asking the same questions over and over again, while the typical age-related change is sometimes forgetting information, but remembering later. Number 2, changes in planning or solving problems. Some people may experience new difficulties in executing, functioning, or including developing or following a plan, something that they were at one time very easy to do, quickly handle, and now they're challenged by some very sometimes simple things. Conversely, a more typical age-related typical change is making occasional errors when you're managing your bank book or household finances. Number 3, difficulty completing familiar tasks. People living with dementia often find it hard to complete daily tasks that used to be so easy to manage, such as driving to familiar places, writing out a grocery list, or remember even how to play a favorite game. Now, some age-related behaviors we may see would be every now and then when you're having trouble programming your microwave or programming to tape a program on your television. Those kinds of things happen all the time. Number 4, confusion with time or place. An individual living with Alzheimer's or another form of dementia may lose track of dates, seasons, or even the passage of time. They may have trouble understanding something if it's not currently happening at the moment, or become confused about where they are and how they got there. This can become very traumatic and profound, particularly in the middle and late stages of the disease. A more typical related change would be sometimes being confused about what day it is and forgetting a scheduled appointment and figuring it out later. Again, the key word is figuring it out later. Number 5, trouble understanding visual images and spatial relationships. So some individuals with Alzheimer's or another form of dementia may experience vision problems, which can lead to balance difficulties or trouble reading or solving problems with distance. This particular behavior affects people oftentimes when they're driving. And so sometimes in early stages of Alzheimer's dementia, they can have fender benders because they didn't quite realize when they were turning a corner, they hit the sidewalk or didn't notice the distance between them and a car in front of them. Number 6, new problems with words in speaking or writing. Individuals may have trouble following or joining a conversation. They may stop in the middle of a conversation and forget what they were talking about and continuously repeat themselves. They may also struggle with finding the right word or calling things by the wrong name because they can't get the right word to come to them. Now, a normal age-related change might be occasionally having trouble finding the right word. Number 7, misplacing things and losing the ability to retrace the steps. That's key, being able to retrace the steps. This sign often concerns people who want to clarify that it's not about losing your keys on occasion. Hey, we all do that. This is about misplacing things from time to time, but retracing steps to find them. That's normal. A person with Alzheimer's disease may lose things and not be able to recall when it was they last saw it, or even identify the location where they may have placed it. Or they may put things in unusual places, such as putting shoes in the refrigerator. Number 8, number 7. Number 8, decreased or poor judgment. Individuals may experience changes in judgment or decision-making, such as using poor judgment when dealing with money or paying less attention to hygiene or grooming. This can be especially common in persons who live by themselves. Making a bad decision once in a while, such as forgetting to get an oil change for your car, that's simple. That stuff is normal with aging. But things when people can forget how to manage their lives, again, things that disrupt your daily life. Number 9, withdrawal from work or social activities. As we age, it's normal to feel uninterested by family or social engagements. But someone who's experienced dementia-related changes may start to lose their ability to hold or follow a conversation. And as a result, they withdraw from social encounters or hobbies. They may lose the confidence and therefore no longer want to engage with others. And the last is number 10, changes in mood and personalities. Individuals with Alzheimer's or another form of dementia may become confused, suspicious, depressed, fearful, or anxious. They might easily get upset at home or when out of their comfort zone. As we age, it's normal to develop some specific ways of doing things and becoming upset or irritable when your routine is changed. But someone with Alzheimer's or other forms of dementia may become fearful, angry, and easily frustrated with something that should be addressed. So these are the 10 warning signs. Let's talk about the need for early detection if you're seeing these signs. The importance of early detection. It's key that we pay attention to what's going on with our own cognitive health and not dismiss any changes that we may be experiencing as normal aging. But if we're seeing a change that's unusual, that affects our level of functioning, or that we see it in someone else, then this is cause for concern. Many times, friends and family are the first to notice changes in someone's memory, behavior, or other abilities. In this module, we'll discuss why it's critical to address any observed changes. Let's hear from an expert.
You know, it's a very interesting phenomena that people who have memory problems are often less aware of it than family members or their friends who know them well. One of the reasons for that is our ability to monitor ourselves, which is an important part of brain function, decreases when we start having memory problems. Not in everybody, but commonly, and more than half the people with memory problems. And so the person is just not keeping track of the trouble they're having day to day. But the family members are, paying attention. If they're paying attention, they see, boy, this is starting to happen a lot, and the person's not aware of it. So the family's more aware, and they may talk to their loved one about it, and they say, I've noticed you've been repeating yourself. And they say, I'm not repeating myself. And that could either be due to the fact that they're not aware of it, or they may not want to acknowledge it.
As the doctor said, sometimes we're seeing things that the person who is exhibiting the behavior does not see. Again, it's not that you see these behaviors every day, all day long, but if you see some behaviors and changes that are increasing in their frequency and increasing in their intensity, you want to say something. You want to talk about going to see the doctor. Let's talk about Mary, because she started noticing things with her husband.
I was so adamant about what was happening to Daryl. I wasn't sure. I didn't know. And this wasn't the person that I know. This wasn't the person. Daryl was my husband was very, he always had to be building or designing or working with his hands. And it was getting to the point where he wasn't, and he was becoming very frustrated when he was forgetting to do things or go places.
Well, let's talk about what should you do if you're starting to observe these behaviors, okay? What should we do? If you continue to observe these changes, it's critical that you plan to take the next step and have a conversation with the person or others who are close to him or her about what you've noticed. I know this can be sometimes difficult or uncomfortable, and the Alzheimer's Association has developed a roadmap. And we're going to talk about that roadmap because there are 10 helpful steps to help you or people you know make the concerns that you have known to medical professionals. So let's get started. First of all, you want to assess the situation. Okay, what changes in memory or thinking or behavior are you seeing? Are they critical? Are they changing? Have they increased in intensity and frequency? What else is going on? Have you recently moved? Has the person's house been remodeled? And so there's some anxiety around that. Are there other things going on with their health? You want to learn about the signs and the benefits of early diagnosis. Absolutely critical. Early diagnosis allows you to get help as soon as possible. You want to learn about the signs because getting the help soon is critical. We've already taken very important steps starting to talk about it. Now, what do we do about it? Has anybody else noticed the changes? If you've brought this up to your loved one and they say, oh no, I don't see any changes. Oh no, I'm not repeating myself. You want to talk to other folks around your loved one. Is a daughter, a husband, a partner, anybody else noticing these changes? Again, you're assessing the situation. Then you want to have the conversation, not just with the person who's changing in this behavior, but people around them. You want to find out, has anybody noticed these changes? Let's talk about the conversation. Sometimes very difficult to have, because if people are not acknowledging that changes in themselves, how do you continue the conversation and how do you get them help? Who should be a part of having a conversation about this person? It could be you, a trusted family member, or a friend, or a combination. It's usually best to speak one-on-one so as not to bombard the person or have the person feel uncomfortable or overmanaged or threatened or ambushed. But you want to make sure that you're using people to have this conversation who can understand, be kind, comfortable, and create a safe place for the conversation. Who should have the conversation? Those who live closest to them, those who see them on a regular basis, those who can, again, create the safe space. What's the best time and place to have this kind of conversation? Well, let me say, I think having the conversation close to where the person is most comfortable, you have to make sure that's the primary concern you want to have. Can you have this conversation in a comfortable environment for the person to feel safe? What will you or the person having the conversation say? What will you say? How do you make sure they're not feeling ambushed? These are some of the questions that you may want to ask. I've noticed this kind of change in you, and I'm concerned. Have you noticed this? Are you worried about it? How have you been feeling lately? Oh, you haven't seemed like yourself lately, so I thought I'd bring this to your attention. I noticed that you are repeating yourself in conversations a lot, having trouble managing your finances at home, having trouble with your driving, and it's worrying me. Has anything else happened that you think you want to talk about? Again, being kind, being open, being direct, but not oppressive. Very, very important. So what do you do next after you've had this conversation? Offer to go with the person to the doctor. If you leave the person alone to handle this alone, they may not deal with it at all. So you want to ask the person to let's go see a doctor. Offer to accompany them. Try using encouraging words as, there are lots of things that could be causing this. Let's not assume that it's this or that. Let's see a doctor so we can figure out what's going on. The sooner we know that what's causing these problems, the sooner we can address it. I think it would give us both peace of mind if we talk to the doctor together. One thing this does in having a support person with your loved one, he or she, if you are the one who's observing this, you can also bring to the doctor's attention some of the behaviors you've seen that your loved one doesn't even acknowledge. So being able to accompany your loved one is really important. What's next? If needed, have multiple conversations. I'm not saying this is going to happen in one little chat. It may not. But if you bring this forward, what you've been seeing, what you have been experiencing with your loved one in multiple times, it may in fact move him or her to say, okay, if you're seeing this, maybe I should get some help. Again, it may not be related to dementia at all. There are certain kind of ear infections or viruses that have people lose their balance. There are low deficiency in vitamin B can cause people to have some difficulties with remembering. So again, we're not taking our loved one to the doctor because we know it's dementia. We've got to get this fixed. But we're saying we're observing some behaviors that are of concern. And so we need to go find out what they are, what's causing them. Reach out for support. Turn to the Alzheimer's Association. Get as much information as you can so that you are informed and you can be the best advocate for your loved one. But see a doctor. Again, don't assume you know what this problem is or what's causing these changes in the behavior. Make no assumptions. Most people address concerns about memory, thinking, or behavior with their primary care physician. And so that's probably the first person your loved one should see. However, in some cases, the primary care physician will refer the person to see a specialist for further evaluation. You should understand this. Specialists may include geriatric professionals, neurologists, neuropsychologists, psychiatrists, or even a psychologist. Again, they need to get series of tests and assessments to best help your loved one understand what's going on. Okay, let's go to the next.
There are a number of benefits in early detection of Alzheimer's. For one thing, a person is able to have a voice in what happens next. They can make plans. They can live life more on their own terms. They can also make plans for the future, financial plans, care plans. They can let people know what they want, which can be a real gift later on. It also allows time for families to make plans and to make decisions about who can do what and figure out care and those kinds of issues. Some people are interested in clinical trials. Clinical trials allow people to have access to treatments that aren't available yet. And for some people, that can be a really important thing to pursue.
I want to emphasize again how important early diagnosis is. The earlier someone is diagnosed, or for if it's Alzheimer's, dementia, or whatever it is, the sooner they can get the kind of care they want. And if it is a form of dementia, how does your loved one, how do you or people around you want to plan out their future? The earlier they have that diagnosis, the earlier they can get the kind of help that they need. So let's talk about seeking that diagnosis. What is next? So I want to test your knowledge. Folks talk about this stuff a lot. What do you think? Okay. There is currently no way to diagnose Alzheimer's disease. You think that's accurate? It's false. Many years ago, when my mom had Alzheimer's, it was in fact very difficult to diagnose Alzheimer's 25 years ago. That is not the case today. There are a number of assessments and tests that make it possible for healthcare professionals to diagnose Alzheimer's with a high degree of certainty. Okay. Now, what are some of the possible assessments and tests that take place? We're going to explore some of these. Keep in mind, as we review these steps, not everyone may be asked to undergo each one of these by their doctor, but there's definitely going to be an assessment made on their medical history. Are there other people in the family who have shown some signs of dementia or have a history of dementia? They want to go through a physical exam. What else might be causing your loved one or you to be exhibiting these behaviors? So they want to screen for depression and interview with a close companion. Again, that close companion can help give the medical team a better sense of what's going on, particularly if your loved one or you or a friend doesn't acknowledge it. So some of the tests might include laboratory tests, mental and cognitive status tests, brain imaging, or cerebral spinal fluid analysis. These are some of the exams that may go on. Again, not everyone gets every test. Do dementia-like symptoms always result in a diagnosis of Alzheimer's or another form of dementia? Absolutely not. The diagnosis process will vary from person to person. As I said, some people will get certain tests, others won't, depending on the individual's specific situation and what the doctor feels is the right course of action for that person. The diagnosis may be something other than Alzheimer's or another form of dementia, which is why it's important to investigate the cause of the symptoms. Stigma and misconceptions about Alzheimer's, like nothing can be done, can deter people from seeking a diagnosis, which is a huge, huge mistake. I'm going to now punt this off to Christine, Brooke rather, sorry, Christine. And she's going to talk a little bit about how the library is engaged in this work. So I'm going to stop sharing.
All right. And actually, I believe, Brooke, did you have something to follow up with that presentation?
Yes, I do. Christine, are you able to share that for me, or either make me the host so I can share my screen?
Yeah. Juanita, can you go in and make Brooke the host?
Okay. And I do that by...
Under the participant panel, you go to the Alzheimer's Association where it says more.
Yes.
And there should be an option to make her the host.
Thank you. Okay.
Can't find it. That's okay. I will take it.
Yes. Yep, I got it.
Okay.
More.
Oh, I just reclaimed it.
You did.
Here we go.
Okay.
There we are.
Great. So I wanted to share some local resources and statistics. Let me pull this screen down. I will apologize about that. Do that one more time. There we go. Okay, are you able to see it says national statistics?
Yep.
Perfect. Okay, so I wanted to share just some general numbers and information around Alzheimer's and dementia and the disease. So these numbers, they are not the best numbers to hear, but it's really important to understand where you are and to look for options and look for ways to be able to be preventative and to stay mindful, especially as we are aging. So some of the statistics out there is that 1 in 3 seniors, so 65 and older, do pass away with Alzheimer's or other dementia, and that really starts to happen around 65. The likelihood increases to about 20%, and then once you reach 85 and older, that's really when you start to see this 33% number that is in there. It is the 6th leading cause of death in the United States, so it is more prominent than breast cancer and prostate cancer combined. The number right now is more than 6 million, so it's 6.2 million Americans that are living with Alzheimer's. Every March, the Alzheimer's Association does publish what we call our facts and figures, and so we update our statistics annually. So in the next couple of weeks, we will see what the numbers look like for 2022 coming out. And then some populations that are affected more so than others is women are nearly twice as likely as men to develop Alzheimer's disease. That is definitely something that I did not know until I started working for the association. And it's really a disease that impacts women because not only are we twice as likely, but most of the time we are doing a lot of the caregiving work as well too. So between living through the disease and watching a loved one and caring for them, it really impacts women. And then African Americans are almost twice as likely, while Hispanics are almost 1.5 times more likely than Caucasians to develop Alzheimer's. There is no definitive answer to any of those statistics, but some things that are happening are that we used to think women typically live longer than men, and that was some of the reasoning behind it. But now researchers are really looking into genetics and trying to dive into what that could look, the reasoning behind that. And then for diverse populations, again, there is no concrete answer. There is a host of research going on. Some possible connections are that diseases like cardiovascular disease, diabetes, high blood pressure, kidney disease, all of these have correlations, not proven to cause it, but correlations with cases of Alzheimer's. So that's another possible connection for those higher numbers as well too. And then the impact to the caregiver. So this is a lot of what the focus is going to look like on our new facts and figures, but you can see 20% of care contributors spend retirement savings. We have a new free educational program coming out called Managing Money, a Caregiver's Guide to Finances. And there I learned that 78% of caregivers put in their own money of out-of-pocket expenses. And then dementia caregivers, their average out-of-pocket expenses are twice as high as those compared to chronic illnesses. So we have over 11 million Americans that provide unpaid care for people with Alzheimer's. So this is your family, your friends, your daughters, your parents, your faith organizations. And a lot of people sometimes think this number would be higher, but these are caregivers specifically related to Alzheimer's and dementia. More than 1 in 6 Alzheimer's caregivers give up their jobs. There's a huge impact to the workplace, that people that have to maybe move from full-time to part-time, people that have to take time off for caregiving responsibilities. And then again, we'll go back to those numbers. Approximately 2/3 of caregivers are women. And then another fact and figure, especially since we are starting to live longer, is about 25% of caregivers are in that sandwich generation. So these are adult children that still have children at the home and then are caring for an aging parent as well too. So those kind of responsibilities are extra tough when you're still responsible for caring for your own children and wanting to care for your family as well too. Now, some resources that we have for the Alzheimer's Association. This is by far my most favorite one. This is our 24/7 helpline, 1-800-272-3900. 24/7 means 24/7. If you are a caregiver, you know that a situation could arise at midnight. A crisis could happen on Christmas morning. So this helpline is staffed by master's level clinicians and counselors, and they can help you navigate a family crisis. They can provide general information about legal or financial matters. They can do care consultations. They can make recommendations and provide information for you. They receive about 300,000 calls a year, and it can be translated up into 200 languages, including if anyone has an issue with vision or with hearing. 2 other ones that we have are All's Connected, and this is kind of like a message board, and it has about 50,000 members, and it's divided into I'm living with Alzheimer's, and then I'm a caregiver for someone like that. If you make a profile, you can be a little bit more engaged, but even if you just go on there, you can search by zip code, you can search by topic. Perhaps you are having, you're really concerned about a parent or a loved one that's having delusions, or maybe somebody in the family has passed away and you're not sure how to handle that situation. You can search for things like that. You can search for geographical areas and see some of the other things that somebody that's diagnosed and living with Alzheimer's or a caregiver are looking for. And then All's Navigator is a customized plan. You can see all the different topics that are available there. You can deep dive into all of them. You can target 1 or 2 or 3 specific ones, and it'll give you a customized plan. There are questions to be able to answer, and you can even share this plan with loved ones, family members, with your healthcare team. Another great resource is that the association and AARP have partnered together. We have something called the Community Resource Finder. Simple, communityresourcefinder.org. And there you can search for programs in education through us, programs in education through AARP. And you can also search for housing opportunities, services in the community. And this is really great because we live in a society today where people, you may be living few states away from a parent, and you need to be able to help a sibling come up with plans and options. So you're able to search for things for free. Maybe it's time to move mom or dad into a community, but safety and wandering is a concern. So you want to make that in the search level. So that's a great resource for our caregivers to be able to have. And it is also free for local businesses, community services to be able to share their own information. So the more people that we have and the more organizations that populate this Community Resource Finder between the 2 organizations, the more robust the searches will be. We have our website is huge. It is kind of like Alice in the Wonderland, that there's so many, you can kind of fall down the rabbit hole with it. But for alz.org/care, this is really targeted toward our caregivers. There's things like what to expect, information on specific topics from sundowning to communication to personal care at home to how to decide care options. And then on the flip side, you have something called alz.org/IHaveAlz. So that's for people that are recently diagnosed or living with Alzheimer's that really want to take charge and find some information out for themselves, how to continue living a well life. Even though you do have Alzheimer's, there are plenty of options, like we were mentioned earlier in the program, that are able to really make your life the way you want it to be, and kind of helps you guide you along there. And then there's all of these are really very interactive. There's lots of videos, topic sheets, things, live chats that you can do to make finding information and education easy. Speaking of education, we have free education programs like this one that cover a variety of topics. From general health and disease, we have a great one called Healthy Living for Your Brain and Body, to deeper dive topics like understanding and responding to dementia-related behavior, and then resources across disease staging. If you're living with Alzheimer's as a person that's diagnosed, or whether you're an early, middle, or late stage caregiver, all of these programs are free. They can be found 24/7 at training.alz.org. Or you can reach out to us at the association and look at bringing a program to a group like the library or another group that you have in the community. Safety Center, which is alz.org/safety. This is obviously a big concern for caregivers and for their loved ones that do have Alzheimer's and dementia. So these are some of the topics that it covers: wandering, driving. We have other education programs related to this, a home safety checklist, driving contracts as you're kind of negotiating minimizing driving and eventually stopping driving. 100% of people that do have Alzheimer's or dementia will have to stop driving at some point. Technology, what are some, if you're concerned about wandering, maybe what are some technology things that you can put into place to minimize that, or at least to alert you? And finally, going to end with some local resources that we have. So AARP/caregiving, they have a North Carolina specific family guide, caregiving guide, that is a great resource. It's downloadable. You can request to order it. And it's also available in several languages. Memory Partners with Lower Cape Fear Life Care, there is their website. They are more than just hospice. They have a lot of great support programs, education. They have some Memory Partners programs that are related to respite care as well too. The Cape Fear Area Agency on Aging, this is really one of my go-to suggestions for people in the area. CapeFearCog.org. They have everything from social workers, elder abuse, resource guides. They can help you with meals, answer questions about transportation. They are a great go-to resource as well too. Dementia Alliance is another nonprofit, and they are out of Raleigh, but they do offer support groups in the area. They have education and respite care programs as well too. And finally is Project Lifesaver, going back to that safety topic. If you sign, it's a free program. You go to newhanoversheriff.com and you can sign up and sign up your loved one that does have Alzheimer's or dementia. This way, if they do wander away, they get lost, maybe they're still in that early stage and they are driving a little bit, when the sheriff and all first responders find out who this person is, they know immediately, hey, this person has Alzheimer's or dementia. Here's their emergency contact information. Here's the next person to call. So I really recommend that. If you go to Project Lifesaver, you can find what counties and what cities have that wherever you live. And I will turn that back over to Christine and stop my sharing. Thank you again so much for listening to this program and some of the resources that we do have to offer.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Brooke. So I am just going to wrap up here by showing you all the New Hanover County Public Library started offering memory care kits about 2 months ago, and that's how I was introduced to the Alzheimer's Association. And we now also have a local resource guide for memory care specifically. What I'm going to do is now share my screen. All right, so this is the main website for the New Hanover County Public Library. And in this site, if you go over to services, over to research, health is right there at the top. And along the side over here, we have memory care resources. And this guide here is going to be updated regularly as we have more things come in. And as we have more resources to add. So the first page here is going to be these memory care kits. And you can see it when you click on the link, it takes you directly to our catalog entry where you can place a hold. You click that and you enter in your library card. If you have any trouble at all, just give us a call down here at the library and we'll be able to help you walk through that process step by step. We also have some general resources. We have the National Institute on Aging, steps to maintain cognitive health. We have a link to a podcast that is specifically by a caregiver of a parent with Alzheimer's or dementia. And again, down here, we have VA caregiver support, some other groups. For local resources, we have Cape Fear Area on Aging, Project Care, the Alzheimer's Association. We have links that directly go to those pages. Under books, these are specifically books here in the library that we have, and we are going to be adding more to our collection very soon. We have a bunch on order. The Alzheimer's Association, Brooke has been very generous in providing us with a list that is highly recommended by her group. And so we have put out we have already put in the order for a new kind of supplement to these collections. And then the final tab is library programs. This today is actually the first in a series that the Alzheimer's Association and the New Hanover County Public Library will be offering on the signs to know and caregiver support and whatever we can do to help support the community. At the end of this program, in about an hour, you all will receive a link to a survey, just a very quick 3-question survey from the library asking you to give us your feedback. And you are also welcome to reach out to me, Christine, for if you have any questions or comments. Now, also, see somebody has put a question in the chat or thank you, Juanita. But if you have any questions, now would be a good time to put those into the chat or the Q&A box. If you have anything you want to say or any questions you have, this is a good time to do it. And we have a few minutes here at the end where we can address these. If not, then anything that comes up in the future, please feel free to reach out to us and we will be happy to answer any questions. So.
Christine, that was a very good presentation on the resources that the library has, an opportunity for local residents to come in and do the research on their own, have access to really good information. As a community educator, it's great to see that at the local library. So good job.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I will be sharing that out as well too.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm going to send out a link to everyone who's attending today. and both to Brooke and Juanita about the link that we have specifically to the library, and also to all the participants. I'll be sending a link with the attachments of the handouts that typically go with a program like this. The Alzheimer's Association provided about 4 handouts for us, and 3 in English and 1 specifically Spanish language handout I'll be sending out to everyone so they can have those as well. Are the kits to be checked out, or are they for families to have? Right now they are for checkout. So we do have on, I can actually go back to that. They are for checkout. They have, here we go. So they are for checkout, and they do have a number of activities and things that you can use while in there, but we do ask for them back. You can certainly make copies or request more resources that are in there. There are some card games, music, puzzles, a couple of books as well. And we also, again, have them for different stages. So we do have early, middle, and late stage care kits with different resources per kit.
That's a great resource. There, I have shared that there are some hospitals in the coastal North Carolina that want to incorporate things like this for their patients. So really fantastic, Christine. And we're so appreciative to have something like that in our community.
Thank you so much. We released them at the end of January this year, and they have just been flying off the shelves. They really have been. So when that occurred, we realized that this was really a need in the community, and so that's when we decided to start partnering with you all. So
Great.
All right. Are there any other questions? Okay, so along with, or early next week, I'll also be sending out a link to this video. This has been a recorded webinar. We are going to have another one this evening that covers, it's more of the 10 signs to know in full. And so we'll be having that as well. And then also just kind of keep checking back in, and we will let you know when we have other programs coming up. So thank you all so much for joining us today. And Brooke, Juanita, thank you again. We really appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Christine.
Thanks. Bye.